Imagine being surrounded by a kaleidoscope of colors and a symphony of sounds as we dive into the world's most incredible coral reef ecosystems. These underwater wonders are home to an astonishing array of marine life, from tiny fish to massive sea turtles, and even sharks. Coral reefs are often referred to as the rainforests of the ocean because they support an incredible amount of biodiversity, with thousands of different species living together in a delicate balance. As we explore these ecosystems, you'll notice that coral reefs are made up of tiny animals called coral polyps, which are related to sea anemones and jellyfish. These tiny creatures secrete a hard, calcium carbonate exoskeleton that provides them with protection and support, and over time, this exoskeleton grows and forms the complex structures that we see as coral reefs. But coral isn't just a simple rock-like substance, it's actually a living thing, and it has a special relationship with tiny plants called algae that live inside its tissues. These algae are like superheroes, using energy from sunlight to produce nutrients through a process called photosynthesis. This process is what gives coral its vibrant colors, and it's also what allows the coral to grow and thrive. In return, the coral provides the algae with a safe and cozy home, and it even helps to recycle the algae's waste products. This symbiotic relationship is what makes coral reefs so incredibly productive, and it's what supports the vast array of marine life that calls the reef home. As we delve deeper into the world of coral reefs, we'll encounter an amazing array of fish, from tiny damselfish and butterfly fish to large groupers and snappers. We'll see sea turtles gliding effortlessly through the water, and we'll even catch a glimpse of sharks and rays, which play a crucial role in keeping the reef healthy. But coral reefs aren't just important for the animals that live there, they're also vital for human communities, providing food, income, and protection from storms and erosion. Coral reefs are also incredibly complex ecosystems, with many different zones and habitats, each with its own unique characteristics. The reef crest, for example, is the area where the reef meets the open ocean, and it's often exposed to strong waves and currents. This area is home to a unique community of animals that are specially adapted to survive in these harsh conditions. The reef flat, on the other hand, is a more sheltered area, with calm waters and a diverse array of marine life. As we explore these different zones, we'll learn more about the intricate relationships between the different species that live on the reef, and we'll discover the many ways in which coral reefs support life on Earth. The coral polyps that make up the reef are also incredibly resilient, and they have a number of strategies to cope with stress and damage. For example, some corals can release special chemicals to attract predators that will eat the algae that might be competing with them for space. Other corals can even change color to regulate their body temperature or to communicate with other corals. As we learn more about these fascinating creatures, we'll begin to appreciate the incredible complexity and beauty of coral reef ecosystems, and we'll understand why they're so important to preserve and protect for future generations. The intricate relationships between coral, algae, and the many other species that live on the reef are just the beginning of the story, and as we continue to explore these ecosystems, we'll uncover even more secrets and surprises that will leave us in awe of the natural world. One of the most fascinating things about coral reefs is the way they're built. It's like an underwater city, with coral polyps working together to create this complex structure. And just like a city, it's home to a diverse range of inhabitants, from tiny fish to giant sea turtles and even sharks. The coral itself is actually a living creature, a tiny animal that's related to sea anemones and jellyfish, and it has a special relationship with algae, which lives inside the coral's tissue and helps to feed it. It's a win-win situation. The coral provides the algae with a safe place to live, and the algae produces nutrients through photosynthesis, which helps to feed the coral. This relationship between coral and algae is the foundation of the entire ecosystem, and it's what makes coral reefs so productive. They're able to support an incredible array of life, from the tiniest plankton to the largest predators, and it's all because of this special partnership between coral and algae, which is often referred to as symbiosis. It's a big word, but it just means that two or more different species And it's not just the coral and algae that are connected, the entire ecosystem is interconnected, with each species playing a vital role, from the fish that help to keep the coral healthy, to the sea urchins that help to keep the algae in check. As we explore the coral reef ecosystem, we start to notice the different zones, or areas, that make up the reef. There's the reef crest, which is the highest point of the reef, and it's exposed to the strongest waves and currents. Then there's the reef slope, which is the area where the reef drops off into deeper water, and it's home to a different set of species. And finally, there's the reef flat, which is the shallow area behind the reef. Each of these zones has its own unique characteristics and its own set of inhabitants, and they all work together to create this vibrant, thriving ecosystem. The coral reef ecosystem is also incredibly resilient. It's able to withstand all sorts of challenges, from coral bleaching, which is when the coral expels the algae that lives inside it, to storms and hurricanes, which can cause physical damage to the reef. But even in the face of these challenges, the ecosystem is able to bounce back, and it's all because of the interconnectedness of the different species, and the way they work together to support each other. It's a true. The diversity of species on the coral reef is also worth noting, with thousands of different species calling the reef home, from fish and invertebrates to algae and bacteria, each playing a vital role in the ecosystem and contributing to the rich tapestry of life that exists on the reef. One of the most fascinating things about coral reefs is the way that all these different species interact with each other and with their environment to create a complex web of relationships that are essential to the health of the ecosystem. For example, coral polyps have a symbiotic relationship with single-celled algae called zooxanthellae, which live inside the coral's tissue and provide it with nutrients. In return, the coral provides the zooxanthellae with a safe place. As we explore the coral reef ecosystem, we start to notice the different zones that exist, each with its own unique characteristics and inhabitants. The reef crest, for example, is the area where the reef meets the open ocean and is often exposed to strong waves and currents. This zone is home to species like sea fans and coral bommies, which are able to withstand the harsh conditions and provide a habitat for other species. The coral reef ecosystem is also incredibly resilient and able to recover from disturbances like coral bleaching, which occurs when the coral is stressed and expels its zooxanthellae, turning white and often leading to the death of the coral. However, if the conditions that cause the stress are removed, the coral can recover and the zooxanthellae can recolonize. This process is often referred to as coral reef resilience and is an important area of study. In addition to the diversity of species and the complex relationships between them, coral reefs also provide a range of ecosystem services that are essential to human well-being, like shoreline protection and water filtration. Coral reefs act as a barrier, protecting coastal communities from wave action and erosion, and they also help to filter the water, removing pollutants and sediments, which improves water quality and makes it safer for humans to swim. The interconnectedness of the coral reef ecosystem is also evident in the way that different species rely on each other for food and shelter. For example, parrotfish and surgeonfish help to keep the reef healthy by eating algae and preventing it from overgrowing and smothering the coral, while species like sea urchins and conchs help to control the population of algae-eating fish and prevent them from becoming too dominant. This delicate balance is essential. This trophic cascade is a key component of coral reef ecosystems, and it's what makes them so resilient and able to bounce back from disturbances like coral bleaching or overfishing. When the balance is maintained, the ecosystem is able to function normally, and the coral is able to grow and thrive. But when the balance is disrupted, the consequences can be severe. For example, if the population of algae-eating fish is reduced due to overfishing, the algae will start to overgrow and smother the coral, leading to a decline in the health of the ecosystem. This is why conservation efforts are so important, to protect the coral reef ecosystems and preserve the delicate balance of the trophic cascade. One of the most significant threats to coral reef ecosystems is climate change. Rising sea temperatures are causing coral bleaching, which is when the coral expels the algae that lives inside it and turns white. This can be catastrophic, for the ecosystem, as it leads to a reduction in the coral's ability to photosynthesize and produce nutrients. Ocean acidification is another major threat, as it reduces the ability of corals to build their skeletons and maintain their structure. This can lead to a decline in the overall health of the ecosystem and make it more vulnerable to other disturbances. So what can we do to help protect coral reef ecosystems? Well, reducing our carbon footprint is a good place to start. By using public transport or carpooling, we can reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and help to slow down climate change. Supporting organizations that work to protect coral reefs is also important. These organizations often work with local communities to establish marine protected areas and promote sustainable fishing practices. We can also make a difference by choosing sustainable seafood options and avoiding products that contribute to coral reef destruction, like coral jewelry or souvenirs. Additionally, spreading awareness about the importance of coral reef ecosystems and the threats they face can help to inspire others to take action and make a positive impact. So let's all do our part to help protect these incredible ecosystems and preserve the beauty and diversity of coral reefs for future generations. In our next video, we'll be exploring the fascinating world of marine conservation and looking at some of the innovative solutions that are being used to protect our oceans and the creatures that call them home. So be sure to check it out and join us as we continue to explore the wonders of the underwater world.